This video is going to be about debt. So in our last video, we filled in a whole monthly budget, and these are actually our real numbers for my husband and I. I don't have time to make up a new budget, a fake budget for you. And quite honestly, if we're looking at our debt, we're almost $50,999 in consumer credit card debt. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we got here, although it's not necessarily as important as what we're going to be doing to get out of it.
Hello and welcome to Budget Pumpkin. My name is Wendy and welcome to my channel. On this channel, we're going to talk about things like budgeting, cash stuffing, planning, dealing with debt, savings challenges, and everything that you could want to know about budgeting. And you're going to be with me on my journey to become debt-free. So if this is something that you want to look into, please tap subscribe and like and comment on this video. And thank you for being here.
I want to thank you if you're here. If you come back to watch this video, this is my second video that I'm filming. Hopefully you came back because you want, some more. But you here on my channel, you're going to be my accountability partners. And, honestly, our minimum payments on this debt, consumer debt, is $1,900 a month. And that's more than our mortgage. I mean, that's almost as much as all of our other bills combined. And it's crazy. It's crazy how it happened. We were in a debt situation years ago. We got out of our debt situation by being really, really smart with our money. I budgeted using a digital envelope system, and I was really diligent about it. But it seems like when you're married or have a partner that you share your life with, it seems like one of you tends to be more administrative, and that's me. I'm the more administrative one. And the other one is not as administrative or is okay to let the other person take care of that. My husband and I do have combined finances. So when we were using a solely digital envelope system, and I still use a system called YNAB, or You Need a Budget. And it's a great system, but it wasn't real to my husband. It was digital envelopes. They do have an app for your phone, but he would forget to enter his transactions, or I would, or we wouldn't check the app to see how much money we had in a category. So while digital envelopes are great for me to keep track of our bills and subscriptions and payments and things that we need to make, it was not good for our spending. I also had quite a bit of time where I was laid off during COVID and couldn't collect unemployment. My husband ended up going to nursing school, and so we put more money on the credit cards than we anticipated for living expenses. I was laid off. I just recently started a new job at the end of August, and my first paycheck was on September 9th. So for me to once I got a new job, I knew that we had to get back to budgeting, because I knew that we were in a situation, and quite frankly, both of our heads were in the sand. Like it was just one of those things. Like, I'm like, we're getting a lot of credit card debt. Okay. Yeah, we're getting a lot of credit card debt, and we both just kind of like, I guess, chose to ignore it. And I think that's maybe how it happens for a lot of couples. I don't know, but that's how it happened for us. I'll also say that when we did get COVID right when it first came out. Neither one of us knew that we had it. And I can say that for me personally, it was just, I'm just now 2.5 years later starting to feel like the person I was before I had it. I don't know what this sickness does to you. But for me, I just have not felt like myself in a very, very long time. So, but getting my new job, getting a new, starting to get regular pay again, it was something that I did not want to just piddle away all of our money. I mean, you can see we make decent money. We're just stupid about how we spent it, and now we have to pay that price. We have to make that back. So if you're here, thank you for sticking around, and like I said, hopefully I bring some good content to you. So this first column here with the number, it might be random, but that's actually the day that I pay the bill. This is not the due date. So our first credit card is due we pay it on the 2nd of the month. It's probably due like on the 5th, but I always do my auto draft 2 to 4 days before the card is due. So then that way we don't get a late payment. So on the second, credit card number 1, our minimum payment is $650, and we have a balance of $16,771. And this is the kicker, and you'll find this with a lot of credit cards. When they raise the interest rates, they also raise this rate. It's 29.99%. I know this is probably making some people just absolutely die, but this is the situation that we're in. I said I was going to be open about it, and this is where we're open about it. On the 8th, credit card number 2, the payment is due, but this card is paid off. On the 13th, we have credit card number 3. This is also $650. This one's our big boy. This one is $18,713, and this is also at 29.99%. On the 13th, we also play credit card number 4. The minimum payment is $300, and the balance is $8,950, and this one is 24.4%. The 13th, credit card number 5. This one is paid. At least we didn't max out every single one of the cards that we have. We've signed up for various cards over the years to get maybe a reward or rewards points. And this is how you end up with so many cards. Credit card number 6 is $100 minimum payment. We owe $3,440, and this one is 21.49. On the 18th, credit card number 7 is paid. Also on the 18th, credit card number 8 is paid. On the 27th, credit card number 9 has a $100 minimum payment. Now, a lot of these I have rounded up, and on all of these cards, we are paying a bit more than the minimum, whether it's $5 or like these guys up here, I'm paying like $25 more than the minimum. I just wanted to keep the numbers round. $2,600 on this one, and this is 24.49%. And our last card is due on the 30th of the month. Credit card number 10 for $100 minimum payment. And we only owe $525. And this one is $29.99. Now, before COVID, before 2020, where I was laid off and we got into this, all of our credit cards were paid every single month for whatever we used them for. So this is just something that's happened over the past couple of years. It's, again, one of those things where we should be mindful of what we're doing, and we weren't. It's so easy to swipe the credit card and say we'll worry about it later, and then later never came, and then now we're in the situation that we're in. You know, and once you have credit and you have good credit, everyone wants to give you a credit card. So it was very easy to get into the situation. It's obviously going to be a lot harder to get out of this situation. But this is where we are. And so now we have to have a plan on where are we going to go from here. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about here. There's two main strategies to paying off debt. So the first one is the snowball, and the second is the avalanche. So the idea of the snowball, okay, is you take your lowest credit card. You don't pay any attention to what these interest rates are, okay? But you take your lowest credit card, and that's the one that you pay off first, right? So the first credit card that we're going to focus on in this method is $100 monthly payment and has a $525 balance. Okay, depending on how long that takes to pay off, okay, once this balance is zero here. Now, while you're doing this, you do have to make the minimum payment on all of your other cards, okay? But once this minimum payment is zero, then so this is credit card number 10. That's kind of weird. These all kind of came out almost in order. So then the next highest balance, now we will have been paying credit card number 9 down, right? Because we're paying our minimum, but not by a whole lot. Okay, so this one has a $2,600 balance, and just for the sake of argument, we're just going to keep it that, so you know what we're talking about. Once that balance is zero, we're already paying $100 on this card here. Once this card is paid off, this minimum payment that we were paying on this card comes down here, and now we're going to be paying $200 a month on this credit card number 9. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pay off credit card number 6. Credit card number 6 right now has a balance of $334.40. Okay, so then when this balance becomes zero, okay, and our minimum payment here on this $34.40 is $100 as well. When this payment becomes zero, we're going to take this $200 and we're going to add it to this $100, and then we're going to get a $300 payment and start paying that down. Once this credit card's balance becomes zero, we're going to pay the next highest. So that'll be our credit card number 4. Okay. This one, when we started, the balance was $89.50. Okay. And this one has a $300 a month minimum payment. Okay, here. Once this one becomes zero, we're going to take this credit card, this $300, we're going to bring it down here, and we're going to combine it with this payment, and this payment becomes $600 a month until this one is paid off. So you can see it's kind of like when they call it the snowball method, because it's like a snowball rolling down a hill. You take a small snowball at the top of the hill, you push it down the hill, and as it starts rolling, it starts collecting more snow, and you have a bigger snowball when you get to the end of the hill. So we'll do these last couple ones. Now we're going to skip credit card number 3 because it has a bigger balance. Okay. Again, the snowball method, you pay the next lowest balance regardless of interest rate. So the next one is credit card number 1. And that has a balance of $16,771. Our minimum payment on here is $650. When this balance becomes zero, this 600 combines with this 600, and now our new payment on this card is going to be $1,250. Okay, and then the last card that we're going to pay off is our credit card number 3. Okay, that one's the one with the $18,000 balance. This one also has a $650 minimum payment per month. When this balance becomes zero, this $1,250, it gets added to this $650. So then that is $1,900 per month, which equals the total of all of our minimum monthly payments. That's our last card. Now, a lot of budget people teach this. I know this is a very popular method. This is the method that Dave Ramsey teaches. And the reason why he teaches this method is because it's very satisfying mentally that you know that I've got this card paid off. And once you pay off that very first credit card, you're like, I can do this. So as you start going, you start building momentum, and then you have, by the time we got down here to this last credit card, now granted these balances are going to be going down a little bit because we're paying off the minimum payments each month. But once we get to this, to tackle, if we're paying $1,900 a month on an $1,800 card, if there was no interest, it would only take us 10 months to pay it off. So as you go, you build steam. It's, like I said, very satisfying, mentally satisfying. You feel like you're accomplishing something. And this is a great method, and that's why a lot of people choose it. And I'm pretty sure that this is the method that we're going to go with, because the interest rates on all of these cards are actually really high. Okay, I am going to talk about, so we went over the snowball method. I'm going to talk about the avalanche method. Okay, this one is where you take your credit cards and you look at your interest rates and you pay off your highest interest rate cards first. Well, if you look, I've got this one, and this one are all at 29.99%. So mentally, to pay these 4 cards off before I pay these 2 cards off, it's not gonna, it could make a large difference. And there are actually online debt calculators that will help you you know, snowball versus avalanche. I will look up a couple and I'll post them. But I don't know that if this is going to be advantageous for us, but this is what it would look like. Okay, so we're still going to pay off credit card number 10 at the 29.99%, because typically I would go lowest to highest balance by interest rate. So the first card we have is credit card number 10. It has a $525 balance. My interest rate is 29.99%. My minimum payment is $100. Okay, when this balance reaches 0, then we're going to pay off this one up here, credit card number 1. It's also 29.99%. That's my $16,771. My minimum payment on here is $650. So then this minimum payment is going to become $750 after we pay off this card. Then the next card we're going to pay off is credit card number 3. Which is also 29.99%. And this is the $18,713 balance. This is also a $650 payment, or a $650 payment plus $750, so this would be $1,300. Then we go to the next highest, which should be this 24.49% card, which is credit card number 9. With a $2,600 balance, and a $100 minimum payment. So then this $1,300 is going to get added to this $100. Our new payment becomes $1,400. You know, I said once these, once this one becomes 0, the 24, then we would have the 29.4, which is credit card number 4. That one has a balance of $89.50. And a minimum payment of $300. Then on this one, we're going to, this becomes a minimum payment of $1,700. Once this one becomes 0, then we would pay off this last one, the 21.49 on credit card number 6. $34.40 is the balance, the starting balance, and with a $100 minimum. I messed up somewhere, but you guys will get the idea. Messed up my math. Oh, this should be $1,400, $1,500, $1,800. Once this gets added to this, this becomes $1,900. It adds up for this. But because the balances on these two cards are so big, it's going to take so long to pay these off especially this one at $750 a month. While it makes sense financially, and you're probably going to save some money in interest, and I can go on and I think it's bankrate.com, but I can go on here and do the calculation. I don't know that we would save that much money to do this way. I think it's more satisfying knocking out those little credit cards one at a time. So you can actually go, and I think I'm gonna actually go on and figure that out, what I should pay off first, because there's a lot of people that this method does make sense financially. I think that this method can be more, just mentally satisfying. So those are the two different kinds of ways to pay off debt. The two strategies, snowball and avalanche. So when people talk about snowball versus avalanche, that's what they mean. And this is just our consumer debt. And I did mention in the other video, my last video, we do have 4 kinds of debt. Consumer credit cards are one. The second kind of debt that we have is our mortgage. But the interest rate, we were fortunate to buy over 10 years ago when the market was in its last depression. We have a good interest rate on our house, and our payment is low, so I'm not going to refinance it. I'm just going to let this one ride. This will be the last kind of debt that I pay off for right now. We also do have a car payment of $300 a month. That would be our third kind of debt. I also was able to buy this, and I have 0% interest financing on my car. I have 26 payments left. All 26 of those payments are going to get made. I have no plans to pay it off early when I'm paying this kind of interest on my credit cards. The fourth kind of debt that we have is student loans. So we do have student loans from my husband for his nursing school. They are in deferment right now. They are talking about possible some kind of loan forgiveness. So we're kind of waiting to see what happens with that. And he actually has his RN, which is a 2-year nursing degree. Where he works actually wants him to have a BSN. So, which is your Bachelor of Science in Nursing. It's a 4-year degree. So most people, at least around here, most nurses, they will go to school, they'll get their 2-year degree, and then they'll start working. And then most hospital systems around here will pay for you to do an RN to BSN program. And an RN to BSN program can be done entirely online, which is nice. So he doesn't have to do any more clinicals or anything like that. So he just would have to take the classes online. He's looking at starting those in January. Typically, as long as you are a part-time student, your student loans are still deferred. So what I'm hoping is that we'll be able to get his student loans either forgiven and deferred for long enough. We can get this consumer debt paid off, and then we will be able to tackle his student loans after this is paid off. I'm kind of setting a 2-year goal for this. Once I go to the website and figure out what's going on, I can actually probably firm up that timeline. And then also the thing is, these are minimum payments, so we have to throw extra money at them if we want to get these paid off sooner. So when we did our whole monthly budget on the last video where we looked at our income, and then we figured it out, if we just pay what's here, basically this is our income, our highlighted numbers here, we have a surplus of $134 a month. So this surplus is going to need to go to debt. For us to make any kind of headway, we have to be paying more than this $1,900 in minimum payments. The other thing that's going to help, because my husband's a nurse, he has the ability to get overtime pay, and they're paying a lot of money and a lot of bonuses for overtime. So hopefully he'll be able to pick up some extra shifts and we can take all that money and we can put it towards our debt. And then any other income that we get, we're gonna either throw it towards debt. Because of the interest rates, I'm actually kind of throwing money towards debt more. A lot of people, and I do agree with this, believe in, Dave Ramsey calls it a baby emergency fund or a little emergency fund. I forget his exact words for it, but it is $1,000 emergency fund. And what you use that for is that while you're paying off your debt, okay, if we only have $134 extra per month, if something were to happen, like that we didn't or weren't able to budget for, it could throw us completely off track. So the idea is that if you have $1,000 emergency fund, you save that, and then you start putting your extra for debt. Then if something happens and you have to use your emergency fund, your $1,000 emergency fund in the bank, if something happens and you have to spend some of that money, you stop making your extra debt payments and you build that savings, that emergency fund back up to $1,000. So what I'm hoping, and I'm kind of rolling the dice and making a gamble with this, is that, you know, if he can get some overtime, if I can get a little bit of extra overtime at my job, there's some available, but it's not quite as readily available, then we can take our overtime money and extra money and put it towards building that emergency fund, and then also paying off debt. Now, here's one of the things, and it's kind of like a mental thing about restricting yourself while you're paying off debt, is it is restrictive, right? So for me, I'm used to spending a lot more money, say on self-care, on coffee, on whatever. And so it's a lifestyle change. Like, you have to want to make this lifestyle change to pay this debt off so that you can, an extra $1,900 a month in discretionary income would be life-changing for us, but we're stuck making these debt payments. So we did agree that in any given paycheck, so say for check number 1, our checks total $3,300. What we're gonna do is that first $100, we're gonna split it in our cash envelopes. Maybe, save for something frivolous, like maybe he wants to buy a box of cigars, or I want to get a pedicure. We are going to reward ourselves and pay ourselves with that, because otherwise we're going to become demotivated. And it's hard, especially when one partner is more of the person who keeps track of everything, like the more administrative person. Sometimes, and I'm not saying that we're in this situation, because we're very open and we have weekly budget meetings and things like that, but sometimes the other person who's not as administrative and doesn't see the whole plan, if you don't have that kind of open communication, they can get resentful. And even me being the more administrative person, I sometimes get resentful of, like, why did we do this to ourselves? Or, woe is me, or whatever it is. I just want to go and buy a Starbucks and a new candle and a blanket or something, whatever it is that I like to spend it, or get a pedicure, or whatever it is. It's easy to get demotivated. So any amount of money from $3,200 up to $3,300 on any given payday, and this is both of our checks, that gets split between our envelopes, our cash envelopes, and anything above $3,300 in a payday, that is all going to go to emergency fund until we hit $1,000, and then it's going to go to debt. So I've talked about it. We agree on that plan, and it's just like a little bit of a reward to keep us motivated, because you work 12-hour shifts in an ER, as a nurse, and it just drags, and you want to feel like you're able to reward yourself at least a little bit for hard work when it's done. So that's our plan. Thank you. If you're still here, thank you for sticking with me. Hopefully what I said made sense. Hopefully it helps you with your own budgeting journey. And like I said, these are real numbers. This is our situation that we got ourselves in. And all of you who are subscribed to the channel, you're going to be my accountability partners. And I hope that we can do this together, and that at least inspire you or give you some ideas on how to deal with this kind of situation. So thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.